Thank you for watching NR News. This is Nicholas Roberts. Stay tuned for our latest updates. In a country that has mostly experienced insurrection after insurrection, it is now well on its way to becoming a military state again. Myanmar's military has seized power after detaining Aung San Suu Kyi and other democratically elected leaders. Troops are patrolling the streets and a nighttime curfew is in force, with a one-year state of emergency declared. U.S. President Joe Biden raised the threat of new sanctions, with the United Nations and United Kingdom also condemning the coup. The army alleges the recent landslide election win by Ms. Suu Kyi's party was marred by fraud. She urged supporters to protest against the coup. In a letter written in preparation, internationally hailed as a beacon of democracy and received the Nobel Peace Prize in 1991. Or acknowledge accounts of atrocities. So how did this coup come about? How did this coup come to unfold? Well, in the early hours of Monday, the Army's TV station said power had been handed over to Commander-in-Chief Min Aung Hlaing. Ms. Suu Kyi, President, and other ministers of the National League of Democracy were arrested in a series of raids, though it is not clear where they're being held. No major violence has been reported. Soldiers blocked roads in the capital and the main city, Yangon. International and domestic TV channels, including the state broadcaster, went off air. Internet and phone services were disrupted. Banks even said that they had been forced to close. Later, the military announced that 24 ministers and deputies had been removed and 11 replacements had been named, including the finance, health, and interior and foreign affairs. A curfew is now reportedly in effect from 2000 hours to 600 hours local time. The military takeover follows weeks of tensions between the armed forces and the government following parliamentary election loss by the army-backed opposition. The opposition had demanded a rerun of the election, raising allegations of widespread fraud that were not backed by the Electoral Commission. But what has the reaction been exactly in Myanmar? Well, the most common reaction from Burmese has been anger. They feel deeply betrayed by the military and the USDP. This was reflected in other comments from the streets, although there have been some supporters of the army out waving flags in Yangon. So let's get into this a bit more so that you can understand. Who is Aung San Suu Kyi? So Aung San Suu Kyi, 75 years of age, is the daughter of Myanmar's independence hero, General Aung San, who was assassinated just before the country gained independence from British colonial rule in 1948. She remained popular with the public despite spending years under house arrest. She was released in 2010, and in November 15, she led the NLD to a landslide victory in Myanmar's first openly contested election for 25 years and became the de facto leader. In recent years, her leadership has been defined by the treatment of the country's mostly Muslim Rohingya minority. In 2017, hundreds of thousands of Rohingya fled to neighboring Bangladesh due to an army crackdown sparked by deadly attacks on police stations in Rakhine State. Ms. Suu Kyi's defense of the military over the widely condemned crackdown lost her much of her international support. NR News has been informed that the problem is continuing to escalate, and there appears to be no clear end in sight. Myanmar might just be getting started. Thank you for watching NR News. This is Nicholas Roberts. Stay tuned for our latest updates.